Well, what is your definition of turn things around?
W's. I mean, can he pad his stats a little bit? Can he make the Cardinals become something that they weren't before he got there?
Well, first thing, he will be on the field more than he was in New Orleans.
He'll get more touches.
Arizona is a struggling offense, a struggling offensive line, but he's going to get the opportunity. Now, they love to play a 3-receiver set, all right, with one running back. Adrian Peterson has typically been I formation, pro style, fullback, tight end, 2 receivers. Now, Bruce Arians, he's one of the best play callers. But that's the reason why there was some optimism from me with him going with Sean Payton. So out of the top 5 play callers, I would say with Sean Payton and Bruce Arians, those are 2 of the top 5. So
Careful, CC, you're almost making a list now.
No. But so I expect one of these coaches to be able to get some productivity out of Adrian. Now, of course, if you don't get the opportunities, Alvin Kamara, that was Adrian's biggest problem in New Orleans because when he signed there, they just had Mark Ingram. Great system, thunder, lightning, a whole bunch of thunder, But when you draft Alvin Kamara in the 3rd round out of Tennessee, he's begun to emerge. He is a perfect running back for a Drew Brees, Sean Payton coach team. So Adrian, he had a huge dilemma then. I'm glad they traded him. There was a couple teams I thought would be interested in him. Arizona's one of those teams. I think Arizona right now, they're trying to do anything they can to try to salvage their season. The West, NFC West, is wide open. If they can get to 500, they believe like that they'll have a chance. Yeah. Keep Carson Palmer healthy. Larry Fitzgerald is playing well. But this is not a good football team. Now, Adrian Peterson, he will make them better because he gives them a huge threat inside the tackles that they haven't had since the first week of the season.
Nick's ready to jump across the table.
Jump.
CC, one of your, and I don't want to misquote you here, one of your lines I've heard you say so many times is, it's about getting the juice out of the berry. What is it? You
have to squeeze.
You got to squeeze. You always say, like, you give me the berry, like, I'll squeeze and get you the juice.
It needs pressure.
Exactly. Yes. Here's the problem. What if the berry has been squeezed and squeezed and squeezed and there ain't no juice left in it? That's Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, I normally wouldn't use that analogy because it doesn't really
work.
Help.
Okay, fair enough.
You can only use it when it works in your favor, okay?
There's no juice left in this berry. This guy has not been an above average NFL player since midway through the 2015 season. His last 13 games, forget the raw numbers of less than 3 yards per carry. In his last 13 games, spanning 3 seasons on 2 teams, he has only had 1 individual game where he averaged more than 4 yards per carry. And I don't blame him for this. He plays the most physically taxing position in all of sports, and he has played it a style that is about as physically taxing a way you can play it. I have a list here of some of the greatest running backs ever. Barry Sanders, what did he do in his 11th season? That's what Peterson's in. Well, he was retired. Jim Brown was retired. Earl Campbell was retired. Okay, O.J. was still playing. O.J., he averaged less than 4 yards per carry. What about Eric Dickerson in season 11? 3.5 yards per carry on 91 total yards for the season. LaDainian Tomlinson, the guy who is the other gold standard running back of this era. His 11th season was with the Jets, had 280 yards for the season. Like, you can't ask Adrian Peterson to be someone he's not anymore. I don't care what team he's with.
No, we're not trying to get him to be a superstar, but is he an upgrade from Chris Johnson?
I don't think so.
Look, when I first heard this, I thought, Adrian Peterson, here we go. Another sort of aging running back going to the Cardinals. Edgerrin James did it. Emmitt Smith did it. Here comes, here comes AP. He's going there. That's where he's going to finish his career. He's going to get his money. He's going to go out, and everyone's going to be happy. But then if you take it one step further, CC, I'll ask you this question. Is it possible that what we aren't seeing is that the Cardinals are all in this year, right? Because Carson Palmer is 37. Adrian is clearly basically in his last year. Larry Fitzgerald, I don't know how many more years he's going to play. He's 34 years old. Bruce Arians is coming off some health issues. This might be their last full season with one big push. Do you see it that way?
Jenna, that's a good observation. And Bruce Arians, I hadn't thought about Bruce and his health, but that's real. The story that I'm really close to is Larry Fitzgerald. And I can tell you right now, Larry, he hadn't made up his mind. Last year at this time, he hadn't made up his mind either and decided to come back. But Larry's question is totally different. Larry led the NFL in receptions last year at 33. So Larry can still play. Larry can still get 1,000 yards, 1,200, 10 touchdowns. Like, he's still playing at a high level. Carson Palmer was even more emphatic about, I need time off to make a career decision, talk to my family, than Big Ben, which we talked about yesterday. Now, so these are real situations. And one of the better general managers, Steve Keim, he does a great job. You can listen to him in the press report yesterday after the trade. He said, we thought we could upgrade the position. We saw a player out there that brings value to our team. Now, he's one of the better talent evaluators in the league. So he believes that right now, Adrian Peterson, they need his talent. So that might speak to the desperation. Because Carson Palmer, like, I believe this would be Carson Palmer's last year.
And they have no backup plan, by the way.
No.
They didn't draft a quarterback this year. It looks like
they were one of the teams that were looking for one.
And then didn't take one. The teams traded up ahead of them, and they ended up not getting one. So they have no obvious, the continuation plan past Carson Palmer. A few things about the Cardinals. I just want to level set on who this team is. Because I think there's a bunch of teams in the league right now, 2-3, 3-2, who's good, who's not. I tried to tell the audience last week, favorite pick of the week was Philadelphia, -6.5. It wasn't because I love Philly the way Jenna does. I think Philly's good. It was because I thought Arizona last week was the worst 2-2 team in the league. I think this week they're the worst 2-3 team in the league. Why? They have 2 wins against terrible teams, Indianapolis and Jacoby's first start, and San Francisco, who's winless. Both of those wins were in overtime. The one against San Francisco, they're trailing in overtime, end up getting a Larry Fitzgerald touchdown to win the game. Trailing in overtime is something you could only recently do in the history of the NFL. They're not a good team. Our guy Dustin, who we shout out a lot, our great stats guy. Dustin is somehow the reason I love him so much. He's the one guy on the staff that's a bigger nerd than me. He compiles his own personal...
He works on Nick's staff. He doesn't work on Jenna and our staff.
No, he's my personal guy.
Yes.
He compiles his own offensive line metrics and rankings. You know who he says is the worst offensive line in football? The Arizona Cardinals. So I get the names of it. You have guy that should be first ballot Hall of Famer in Larry Fitzgerald. Guy that will be first ballot Hall of Famer in Adrian Peterson.
Yes.
A guy that's first ballot Hall of Very Good, Carson Palmer. Like the tier right beneath Hall. He won't ever make the Hall of Fame, but he's right there with Phillip Rivers. Like, it was almost good enough. You have all those guys. One final push. The problem is, of those 3, Larry's the only one that's still good. Carson was bad last year, has been bad this year. Larry's still very good. And Adrian Peterson hasn't been good since midway through 2015. It didn't cost him much, a conditional 6th-round pick.
Right.
So what? I understand rolling the dice, but this is like going to Vegas. You're on your way out of the casino. You're like, let me throw $50 on double sixes on the craps table. Like, I know it's a 30-to-1 shot, but I'll risk it. This isn't something that I see working out for.
But listen, the teams in front of them, NFC West. Let's break it down.
Yeah.
The Rams. I believe the Cardinals, they probably think, something? They're not real. They're a year or 2 away. They're still young. Seattle, we know about Seattle. They're not looking great. They got some injury problems. Their offensive line. So, man, now is the time. Nick, if they can get to 9-7.
Well, and to supplement that point, even though I don't think they're good enough to do it, they haven't played Seattle or the Rams yet this year.
Yes.
So in their final 11 games, 4 of them are against the teams they're competing with for the division. So if it works, if they're good...
you're going to play those teams, you need a banger of a running back like Adrian Peterson.
Right, so just get a time machine and they got one. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from some of our other great shows on FS1.